So in today's little mini lesson, we're going to talk about this little very helpful preposition de, and we're going to talk about it in regards to indicating possession, so saying that someone owns something. Now in English, when we want to say someone owns something, we use the apostrophe S system to show possession. So like it's Olivia's book, it's Brian's backpack. But in Spanish, this apostrophe S isn't a thing, it doesn't exist. So we use de instead to convey the same sense of possession. So it's a little more wordy. So instead of saying, for example, Olivia's book, I need to say the book of Olivia. How do I do that? Easy itty bitty formula. We use the noun plus de plus noun formula. This first noun represents whatever's being owned. The second one represents the owner. So for example, La casa de Felipe. In English, that would be like saying the house of Felipe. Or I can use which belongs to, so the house which belongs to Felipe. Los papeles del maestro. The papers which belong to the teacher, or the papers of the teacher. El coche de Olivia. The car of Olivia, or the car which belongs to Olivia. So again, it's a little more wordy, but if we remember this order, noun plus de plus noun, we can express who owns what. What about questions? How would we go about asking a question to see whose is it? Now, if we just want to ask whose is it in general without specifying the object, maybe the speaker's pointing to it, all we have to say is de quién es if it's one item. De quién es. Whose is it? Let's say I'm pointing to multiple items, like a pile of books, like whose are those? De quiénes son. So remember that in English we just use who, but in Spanish we have who singular and who plural. We also have to keep in mind our conjugations. So ser is singular when I'm referring to one object, but it's plural when there's multiples. So again, if I just want to say whose is it, one item, de quién es. If it's multiple items, whose are they? De quiénes son. Of course, you can use these with specific items too. So if I want to say, whose book is this? De quién es el libro? And I leave the item at the end. Who is singular because it's one book, and is also singular because it's one book. What about if it's a pile of books? De quiénes son los libros? We've got books plural now, so our verb is plural, and we're using the plural form of who as well. And that's all there is to it for telling who owns something and then asking questions about who owns something. Super short lesson, but de is such a useful little preposition, and in this case it's super helpful because we can now talk about who owns what. So remember, anytime you want to talk about possession, we cannot use apostrophe s in Spanish, we use de to tell who is the owner. Gracias, buena suerte, good luck.